how to feel secure. Most of us suffer from at least some aspect of insecurity in some domain of our life. We want to know how to feel more safe and secure in our life without that constant sense of dread. Today, we're exploring exactly how to feel more secure. Welcome, I'm Kim Marie, and this channel is all about supporting women to step into their most empowered self so they can live their most fulfilling life. What would it feel like to feel more secure? What if feeling insecure didn't have to hold you back? What would it feel like to have that sense of safety and security moving through life with all of its craziness and conflict and overwhelm and distrust? That's what we're going to dive into today. We need to understand what insecurity is and how to overcome it in order to live the empowered and fulfilling life that we're seeking. So first of all, what exactly is insecurity? Okay, in its basic definition, it's a state of not feeling safe. It's not feeling assured of yourself. It's not feeling assured of life. It's having a sense of fear and doubt. Now, this concept of insecurity can show up in so many different ways. And I'm speaking more specifically to feeling secure in the world, right? I have another video I'm doing about feeling secure in yourself, and that's a whole other topic about creating inner security. But there's also this aspect of how can we just simply feel secure in life? How do we do that? And understanding that insecurity is really coming from that place of having fear and doubt and no assurance that things will be okay or that we can feel safe. So why does security or insecurity hold us back? Well, a lot of that is coming from our lower nature. Our lower nature is constantly trying to create stories about why something is unsafe, why something can or can't happen, how we should be doing something differently, always bringing up that concept of doubt and potential overwhelm. And so this is why insecurity holds us back so much and why it's so important for us to begin to find ways and tools and practices that can help us to feel more secure. We long to feel incredibly secure, yet we struggle to embody that sense of security. Why do we long for this sense of security so much? Well, if we look deeper at the definition of what it means to be secure, we'll find words like tranquil and quiet and still, easy and free from care. Wow, that sounds pretty appealing, right? This idea of moving through life feeling secure, feeling that kind of ease and grace in our process, right? So we have this longing within us because that is our natural state. Without all of the stories overwhelming us, all of the emotional influence, all of the triggers, all of the meaning that we give to things that maybe doesn't have to be given all of that meaning, we end up feeling so insecure with all of that. But our essence, our state of truth, our state of empowerment actually wants the quiet, the tranquility, the stillness, for things to feel easier. Okay, it doesn't mean that we're not looking for a challenge or we don't want to challenge ourselves to step out of our comfort zone. We do, but there's an aspect of feeling secure in the process of doing so that we're longing for from deep within ourselves. The world seems to perpetuate a state of insecurity. Everywhere we turn, well, one thing that was considered safe is now considered unsafe and vice versa. And we don't know what to trust or who to trust. We aren't sure what to believe anymore. We aren't sure what's real anymore. And of course, in a world of social media that connects us on so many beautiful levels, there's also this incredible disconnection and polarization based on so much disinformation and misinformation that we have at our fingertips. And so it becomes ever more important to begin to find that sense of security within ourselves, but also be discerning about what is and is not worthy of paying attention to. We have been trained to be insecure. We've learned to be reliant upon somebody else to tell us what to do. So this is part of what our day-to-day world is doing for us, to us. I don't know how you want to phrase it. I don't think it's helpful for us to be victims of insecurity, but we need to recognize that if we want to feel secure, what is causing us to feel insecure, and start weeding some of that noise out of our lives. So what do we have to do to know how to feel secure? Well, first of all, what we need to take a look at is what triggers us, what triggers insecurity in us. It's really important to take a look at some of those simple triggers that come up in our day-to-day life that cause us to go, I don't know, maybe we feel contracted, we feel a sense of that fear or that doubt or that sense of unassuredness. So we want to know what those triggers are. We want to be more mindful of them, pay attention to them. One of the biggest things I talk to my clients about is the importance of noticing. So often we go into these situations and say, I'm insecure, I shouldn't be insecure, I want to just fix it, I just want to get over it. And we don't value the power of noticing what triggers the insecurity, what makes that happen. Because when we know what triggers us, we can begin to create new stories around it, integrate the emotions that happen in the triggers, and begin to move forward and actually shift the way we're approaching it. So another tip to actually feel more secure is to begin to envision new possibilities based on different truths. Okay, so a lot of times what triggers insecurity is there's something in us that believes something is a certain way or something will happen in a certain way. So when we can begin to envision new possibilities with a different truth, a different idea, a different belief, then we can begin to create a greater sense of security. Not necessarily because it's guaranteed. We don't always know exactly how things are going to turn out. So this isn't about trying to make everything be in our control. In fact, I think it's the fact that we've tried so hard to control nature. We've had situations of leadership and religions and corporations and education trying to control people and tell us how it's supposed to be done. It's this constant need to control that I think is actually adding fuel to the fire of insecurity. So we want to step back and begin to have greater trust in the universe, in life, in nature, and begin to understand that we don't always have to be in this space of trying to control everything. And in fact, we can have a vision with a new set of beliefs, a new set of truths, a new set of ideas, and begin to step toward that, to create a new vision and even believe a new vision is possible. You want to also consider your surroundings. Who are you surrounding yourself with? What kind of environment are you in? Are those people and situations contributing to your sense of security, or did they actually contribute to a lack of safety? Do they cause you to feel less safe and secure? I am a single parent, and my boys have had to go back and forth between my home and their father's home. Now, either place is acceptable, but just the nature of doing that is difficult on our children. And I know my oldest had shared with me at one point that in some ways, that sense of safety becomes compromised because there's not this one solid place to call home, okay? And yet, we can also create other stories around it that tell us it's unsafe because maybe our culture says we're supposed to have one home, right? The indigenous people moved all the time with their entire tribe. It was very nomadic in their culture. And so did that create insecurity? Did that create a lack of safety? Or maybe that was part of what kept them safe, is moving, right? So different cultures and different situations will have different definitions of what it means to feel safe and what it means to feel secure. And it's important to just consider, what are our surroundings? Who are we talking to about this? Whose opinions are we listening to? And what can we create in line with that different kind of vision that we mentioned previously? And finally, in order to begin to feel more secure, we want to actually be willing to step into the shadow rather than running away from it. Now, initially, that may cause us to feel even less secure. We don't want to do it in such a way that we're rehashing or re-traumatizing ourselves around things. That's not necessary, nor is it helpful. We really want to move forward. That's a big thing that coaching does for us, is helps us move forward, see things in different ways, keep progressing. We are not getting stuck on the old stories. However, if we know that we have a certain fear of doing something, or we have these shadows that we've kind of been skirting skirting around and trying to hide from or run away from facing, then maybe we need to actually step into them and understand them and move through them rather than constantly trying to hide from them. We can feel tremendously insecure. You can think of like a child who's afraid of the dark or afraid of what might be lurking under the bed, right? We do that a lot with our own shadows. We're afraid of our own anger. We're afraid of the anger of others. We're afraid to speak up because of what anger it might generate. And when we can begin to take these kinds of practices bit by bit and step into those shadows, those things that we might be afraid of, those things that we might be avoiding, then we begin to become less afraid. We begin to feel more secure. We might start to notice, oh, I set a boundary and I said I wasn't willing to do this and it was actually okay. I didn't get yelled at for it, or I didn't get criticized or judged for it. Wow, that's amazing. And when we can step into those things and have different kinds of results than maybe what we're used to, then we can begin to assess it in a much more neutral way. Now, that's not to say that every time you step in, you're not going to get pushback or you're going to be received well. We don't always know how we're going to be received, but the more times we step in confidently and practice not running away from the shadows, but stepping in, we start to feel more secure in our own capacity to meet difficulties in life. We start to know that even if we're met with animosity or judgment or anything like that, we will navigate it. We'll get through it. And of course, there's lots of tools and practices that we can use to help us navigate those things. And one of the things I want to offer you is a totally free download of my balance and empowerment cards. These are amazing tools to help you find where you're kind of going to extremes of feeling less secure in yourself, and how you can find that balance point of empowerment where you can stand in your truth and your confidence and your sense of security so that you can move forward most effectively on your most empowered path. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.